rich always do fine.
I'm not saying that's why he's running for president. I'm saying
I think
why
he's speaking to the donor class. What we're seeing is, with the exception of Donald Trump and maybe Ben Carson, by and large, the Republicans are speaking to the donor class, not to the voters. And by the way, the reality is that when the top tax rate was 90%, CEOs were only taking 30 times what their workers were taking. What were they doing with the rest of that money? They were reinvesting in their company. They were inventing new products. They were growing markets. They were doing marketing campaigns and advertising campaigns. I was there back then in the 70s. I remember those tax rates. I remember when my CPA came to me and said, you know, you're paying more than 40% in income taxes right now. You need to stop taking a salary out of this company and start putting money back into this company. And I did. And we grew this company from 6 employees to 18 employees. And, you know, this was all before Reagan.
But wait a minute. Today, CEOs get paid in, you know, stock options and shares of the company. So I don't know if I necessarily agree that that's not happening.
That happened in the 80s too. That was a rule change that Reagan oversaw.
But my point is, you can't necessarily say that CEOs aren't reinvesting into their companies. That's my only point. But
how can you? Wait a minute. You think buying stock or selling stock is an investment? It's not.
Well, stock options is part of a package.
Stock option, when people buy or sell, stocks, it has absolutely no impact on the company whatsoever. It's only when an IPO is issued that you're actually giving money to a company. When you're exercising a stock option, you're not giving money to a company. You're giving money to Carl Icahn or whoever happened to be the guy who held that stock before you did.
Let's go back to your argument though. Are you saying that you want Tim Cook to? I'm not sure what his salary is. Do you want him to? He's got, you know, hundreds of billions of dollars a company, right? So you want him to cut his salary, which is in the range of tens of millions, and reinvest back into the company. Is that the argument?
Tim Cook's predecessor made $1.
Right.
Steve Jobs is only taking $1
for 1 year.
That's happening quite a bit with a lot of Fortune 100 CEOs anyway. So I guess I don't understand kind of the argument, but I do want to get back to your graph. The trouble I have with it, you're trying to say that there's a direct causal link between tax rates and GDP growth.
To say that.
How? That's the myth. That's the liberal myth I don't understand. Because CEOs reinvest in R&D as if R&D is not a line item on corporate income statements.
It is.
That's what I'm saying. But you're saying it doesn't happen because we're pulling all this money out of R&D and paying CEOs, CEOs.
We are.
Where's the data that proves that?
It's A, look at the history. B, common sense. I mean, it's just if you are running a business and you're Stephen J. Hemsley and you're running United Healthcare, okay? And I use him as an example because he's a guy who has taken $800 million in compensation from United Healthcare. You can do one of two things. You can say, hey, we're a health insurance company. Let's take $700 million of that and use it to vaccinate kids and do liver transplants and save people's lives. Or let's take $700 million of that and give it to Stephen J. Hemsley, and he can buy 5 new houses.
I understand.
And with Reaganomics, he's bought the 5 new houses.
I understand what you're saying. You're looking at the tax code as a punitive.
I'm saying that taxes. There are 2 reasons for taxes. One is to raise revenue, but that's the least important. The first is to alter behavior. You modify behavior for the good of society and for the economy.
You're talking about basic human behavior.
That's social engineering.
Of course it is.
If somebody's trying to come after 90% of your income, you're going to try a lot harder to get out of that. And then if somebody's coming after 25% of your income, that's just a fact.
But it's only
because
your
then you're willing to
income.
pay the 70.
The 90% tax rate doesn't even kick in until after you've made $3 or $4 million.
And I'm telling you, nobody paid those high rates. It just didn't happen. And I got another issue with that graph too. Is you're saying essentially that since tax rates did this, GDP